Now, I don't know if it's going to be this week, a month from now, or a few months from now, but crypto is on the verge of making a parabolic move higher, with Bitcoin really close to making a new all-time high. It might already be at a new all-time high by the time this video gets out in a few days from now. And I really believe that with crypto and where it's at right now, you need to be focused fully and locked in on the market, because it is going to be so easy to make money once we are entering this new price discovery period with new all-time highs. We have so many positive catalysts coming for crypto over the next 6 to 12 months. And I really believe that this is the time to be focused, locked in, getting allocated, making sure you're in your altcoin plays that have 10x or more upside. This is where it matters. And I want to break down in this video 18 reasons why crypto is about to go parabolic, because a big problem people are going to have is they're going to underestimate how high crypto can go. If you don't know what I'm going to explain to you in this video, you will not be prepared for what is about to happen, for the price moves that are about to happen, because you will sell too early, you won't focus hard enough, you'll fuck it up. So we need to go over all the different reasons so that you're fully aware of what's happening if you haven't been paying attention. So the first thing that's happening is Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, could be out in as soon as a few weeks, with Bezant being a likely replacement, because he's the type of individual who does basically anything Trump says. Now, who's Powell, who's Bezant? You might not know who these people are if you haven't been paying attention. But you can see here that US Treasury Secretary Bezant says he has seen no inflation from tariffs, and Fed Chair Powell's successor is coming in as soon as a few weeks from now. Okay? Now, maybe you don't understand what this means, but I'm going to present to you in this video a number of different puzzle pieces, so I need you to just pay attention, because it's all going to make sense as you watch this video and I tie it all back together later on, okay? The second thing that you need to know is that Trump has pushed for this big, beautiful bill to get pushed through Congress. And Trump has basically, with the approval of this bill this week, confirmed he is committed to a particular path for America to escape its debt problems, which is through growth, right? In order to basically solve the debt problem that America is experiencing, Trump is doing it through trying to encourage growth, okay? And this growth approach is heavily focused on money printing, lower interest rates, borrowing more money, and that basically means the money printer stays primed. And you can see here that Trump put a tweet out on, not on Twitter, but on another platform. For all the cost-cutting Republicans, we will make up for the amount of money that we're borrowing 10 times with growth, right? That's his approach, okay? He's trying to grow his way out of America's debt problems. And I'm going to explain to you why this is extremely important to understand later on. You might not get it yet in this video, but like I said, just pay attention. This is all going to make sense as we go through the video. The third point is Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. He has a 4-year term, same as when you're a president of the United States, right? His term ends in May 2026, so he has 11 months at the longest, but it's looking like he's actually going to be replaced in the very near future, because you can see here that Trump has been openly criticizing Jerome Powell, saying we should have interest rates significantly lower by now. He's done a lazy job. He should step down, blah, blah, blah. And also, there's been I don't even know what you would call this, but just to put it simply, Jerome Powell has been caught up in some lies and scandals, and they're now trying to get a case put against him to look into this, right? So this is what I think is happening, right? Trump wants Jerome Powell out because with this big, beautiful bill, he has to borrow massive amounts of money in order to fund the bill. But interest rates are at 5%. So how are you going to borrow billions of dollars at such a high interest rate? It's not going to happen. He needs interest rates lower so that he can borrow money for cheap, so that works. The big, beautiful bill works, right? So how does he get Jerome Powell out? Well, he starts basically finding any little dirt he can on him. Anything that he ever did wrong ever, find it, and then take him to court over it, right? So Jerome Powell has now got a choice. Does he want to get basically taken to the slaughterhouse with any little thing that he did wrong? Or does he want to just resign, step down, and let his replacement come in, who would be selected by Trump, someone who would basically do whatever Trump says, right? So that's what's coming for crypto. This is the macro. This is probably the most important aspect of this Bitcoin bull run. And if you don't understand what I'm saying so far, you need to. So you need to keep watching this video, okay? And there's a tweet here that I think is a very complicated but very insightful look at an explanation of what's happening here. Bezant is telling you out loud in this video that he basically had, the new policy going forward under Trump's administration is negative real rates to grow out of debt. Now, it's quite complicated what he's explaining, but I actually put out this tweet here to really put it simply. So this is why crypto is about to go parabolic, okay? Trump really wants lower interest rates because, in order to basically pay for the bill that he just got approved, he needs lower interest rates or it's going to be too expensive to borrow all that money. Because remember, like if Trump borrows $1 billion, or not Trump, if America borrows $1 billion, right, at a 5% interest rate, that's locked in. So you want to try to, when you go to borrow it when money is cheap, so that if interest rates go up later, you're fine. Okay? So how is he going to afford the big, beautiful bill? Well, someone like Bezant would be a likely good fit for Fed share because he does everything that Trump says. Because America borrows a fuck ton of money at current interest rates, borrowing is really expensive. Trump's approach to solving this is to basically double down on the debt problem. How do you get out of having too much debt? Well, you just get a ton more debt to stimulate growth to try to get yourself out of it. And like I explained here, it's like a metaphorical drug addiction by doubling the dose, right? Imagine you're addicted to drugs. Imagine you have a packet of cigarettes a day. How do you fix that? Do you go cold turkey and stop smoking, stop borrowing money? Or do you borrow double the money and smoke double the cigarettes? Well, that's what Trump's trying to do here. It can work, but it's risky, right? So lowering interest rates, which is what Trump wants to do, which is obviously really good for crypto. We've never had an alt season without interest rates going down, right? Without QE, right? And making a big, beautiful bill, it does two things. It makes money cheaper. It also increases investment into America. Now, both points here lead to inflation, right? So Bezant, in this video over here, he states that he wants America to go back to where it was pre-COVID in terms of interest rate policy, okay? Interest rates pre-COVID were between 1 to 2%, okay? So he wants interest rates at 1 to 2%. Now, what happens if interest rates are at 1 to 2%, meaning that you can lend your money and get 2% a year? What happens if inflation is more than 2%, right? Because when they make money cheaper, interest rates lower, and basically borrow money to put it into the American economy, that stimulates a lot of growth, which is going to lead to higher inflation. Inflation's already high. So we might have a period where we have 3 to 5% inflation with 1 to 2% interest rates, which means that every year you're making 2% on the money that you're lending, but you're losing 3 to 5% on inflation. So your net return is negative. You don't make any money. But this is great for people who already have a lot of debt because let's say you borrow $1 billion in 2010, right? And then you repay the $1 billion 20 years later. 20 years later, that $1 billion is not the same $1 billion that it was in 2010 because of inflation. So the higher inflation is, the faster the debt will inflate away, essentially. And that's what Trump is, I think, trying to do here. Why else would he really want Jerome Powell out? Why else would he really want interest rates low? Why else is he pushing this massive bill which is going to increase the debt? Why else is Bezant talking about growth as the strategy? This is what they're trying to do, okay? So this environment that we're heading into where you will lose money lending money because of inflation being higher than interest rates, what does this mean? Well, it punishes people who lend money, it punishes people who save money in their bank account, and it rewards people who invest. It rewards business owners, it rewards investors, it rewards people who hold assets. So lower interest rates leads to more borrowing, which leads to more spending, which leads to more growth, which leads to inflation. And that is to grow out of the US debt. And as a side effect, and this is the kicker, it creates the perfect environment for financial bubbles to occur. You think about why we had such a massive bubble in crypto during COVID. They dropped interest rates, they printed a fuck ton of money, leading to a financial bubble occurring, okay? And that's the same environment that Trump is trying to put us into now, or a similar level of environment, okay? So under this negative real rates regime, a growth-focused regime, the US dollar gets weaker, gold goes up, because obviously this is an inflation hedge, stocks up, crypto up, they're inflation hedges, bubbles begin to form in sectors that are seeing a lot of innovation. So crypto is obviously the thing that everyone's talking about right now. That's where a bubble's going to form. AI and robotics, that's also a very popular sector. We're going to see a bubble probably form there too. Bitcoin as an asset being put on the balance sheet for various companies is also a sort of bubble in and of itself. We also have lenders who are going to get wrecked and bonds down, okay? So capital is basically forced to move from cash to risk assets like crypto and stocks, bonds to risk assets, and yield-bearing instruments, sort of like bonds, to risk on, okay? Now that might be a little confusing, but I'm basically just trying to say that in this regime, having US dollars sucks ass, and you want to hold assets, okay? And this is why Bitcoin's chart looks incredible. This is why the stock market is pumping to new all-time highs, because everyone is beginning to realize, oh shit, look at this environment, this sort of macro environment that we're heading into. Wow. Okay? Now let's talk about the next points that are not so related to things that you might not understand. I don't know how much understanding of macro you guys have. Altcoin dominance has returned to almost the same levels that preceded the prior alt seasons, okay? This is a chart that tracks, you can see it up here, total market cap minus USDT against Bitcoin, right? You can see here that alts are returning back to the same level pre the past alt seasons, okay? The next thing, crypto-related stocks have been going parabolic. Coinbase is up 70% in 2 months. Robinhood, up a lot. Circle, up a lot. The price action in these crypto-related stocks is reflecting demand for TradFi exposure to crypto because they believe that mass adoption is soon to occur, okay? We also have 72 active crypto filings, some on the verge of getting approved. Actually, the Solana ETF, the staking ETF, did just get approved a couple of days ago, okay? We also have, with the staking ETF likely approved, with the staking ETF approved, it sets the stage for crypto indexes, ETFs to get approved as well, and across-the-board approvals for other ETFs. This represents significant passive demand for altcoins. And not only this, there's actually other things that have changed, which we'll talk later on. Coinbase, Hood, and Circle's rallies are probably going to create a spillover effect in the same way that Bitcoin rallying leads to altcoins rallying. You have that same spillover effect that will likely occur because people will still want to chase risk in crypto. They just don't want to buy Coinbase at, a massive valuation. The biggest Bitcoin rallies occur when the market is net short the US dollar. So you can see here, this is the US dollar positioning. During this bull run here, it was very negative. During here, it was negative. Here, a little bit negative. And now we're coming very negative again. So that's another positive sign, okay? The S&P 500, like we said, new all-time highs. Many of the world's largest institutions are beginning to integrate stablecoins into their ecosystems, which is going to help us onboard millions of new users to crypto. Banks can now engage in crypto-related activities, so banks can now, custody crypto for their clients. There's an ever-expanding cohort of state entities and institutions accumulating Bitcoin as holdings on their balance sheets. Rick Edelman, he founded a $300 billion investment advisory firm called Edelman Financial Engines. He recommends 40% crypto exposure to his aggressive clients, okay? And this is what he said. Traditional 60-40 stock bond allocation is dead. Moderate clients should place a quarter of their money in crypto. Owning crypto is no longer a speculative position. Failing to do so is. Okay? So basically, he's just telling the world, because he's one of the biggest, investment firms, you need to buy crypto. All these rich people are getting told you need to buy crypto. And Bitcoin's about to hit a new all-time high. They're about to fill the FOMO. Things are heating up, okay? Robinhood, they just announced on-chain trading, right? This is eventually going to turn into basically on-chain trading for any asset in the world, 24/7 for virtually free, okay? This is going to bring billions of dollars into our industry, which is going to spill over into crypto. Now, in the expression slowly, then all at once, right, we are very firmly into the all at once phase. Every single day this week, we've had like 5 to 10 massive announcements, which if they had happened 3 years ago, would have pumped Bitcoin like 5% and 10% in a day. And we're having these 5 times a day, every single day now, on repeat. JP Morgan launching its own similar thing to a stablecoin on Base. Stripe acquiring Privy to basically get further integrated into crypto. There's like a never-ending surge of announcements, okay? The Israel and Iran conflict, that's basically seems to have been solved by Trump. He put not a tweet, but again, it's on whatever social media this is, that things are looking good, okay? So that basically removes the tailwind that people are worried about in regards to, war escalation in the Middle East. The listing process for new ETFs is looking to be made significantly simpler and faster. So you can see here that the SEC is in the early stages of creating a generic listing standard for token-based ETFs. So they can basically file an S1, wait 2.5 months, and then the exchange could list it, right? And they'll have probably some minimum requirements like market cap, trading volume, liquidity, which probably won't be too aggressive, to be honest. Now that means that any altcoin that meets specific requirements can in a much easier way get listed as an ETF, which opens up the floodgates to TradFi buying even more crypto through their existing accounts. Stablecoin total supply has been going parabolic, right? You can see here that all the stablecoins that are being created, this is capital in crypto that can bid coins. People always years ago used to look at stablecoin total market cap and use it as a metric for determining how much capital is there in the market that could bid alts. And people don't use it anymore, but it's still the same thing. It's capital that can bid coins, and it's going parabolic. Okay? So this is 19, well, I said 18, but it's basically 19 reasons why crypto is on the verge of going parabolic. And I think the most important one you guys really need to remember and look into if you're interested is what's happening with Trump's macro approach to fixing the debt problem. He is going to print a fuck ton of money, massively lower interest rates, stimulate the economy by making serious investments into AI in various different sectors. This is going to bring a lot of jobs, a lot of growth, which is going to increase inflation. If you think you're going to make money from lending out your money and buying bonds going forward, you're not, because you're going to have negative real interest rates. You're going to lose money as a lender, and everyone in America is going to be forced essentially to move from these risk-off to risk-on assets as we head into a growth-based economy under Trump's presidency, okay? And this is all happening while billions and billions of dollars is flowing into ETFs as the world is waking up to what is happening in crypto, that we are building the new financial rails that are faster, cheaper, easier, simpler to use than the SWIFT system, than the banking system, and millions of people are going to move over to this new system. And Bitcoin as an inflation hedge from a currency, the US dollar, that more and more people are waking up to being something that is not wanting to be held for the long term, okay? And so if you've watched this video and you feel a little overwhelmed with all this information and you don't think you're going to have a really solid plan in place to capitalize on what's about to happen in crypto, and you get a lot of value from being told and exactly what to do, given an exact portfolio of high-risk plays, Bitcoin allocation, how much to put in each coin, when to buy, when to sell, then I have something for you that might interest you. I run a private mastermind community for those looking to get handed the exact strategies to make it big this bull run. So I started with 5K in 2017, and I'm almost at 8 figures now, around 7.5 years later. So I would like to show you, if you're a member of this group, how to go about doing something similar in this industry. Obviously, there's no guarantees, but I'm going to show you what I did and what I would do if I was in your shoes going forward. And this is with me alongside my team of analysts. So you'll get to work with me one-on-one to build an exact plan and portfolio for this bull run, tailored to your situation. Clear, easy to follow, hands-off signals for 10 to 100x plays, sort of like a set and forget portfolio where you buy high-risk plays when they have a lot of asymmetric upside and you just hold them until you sell. Access to my long-term investing system to buy Bitcoin and other large caps at low prices and sell them at high prices. And the idea is that I allow you to buy back control of your crypto investing. You're investing in the control that you feel you have over your returns in crypto, essentially, with the assurance that you're basically making the same moves as seasoned professionals who live and breathe this stuff, like me and my team. And you'll stay at the bleeding edge of the latest metas, because crypto is not a space where you can just buy random coins and hope to make money. You need to be ahead of the market now. So if that sounds interesting, you can apply at the website, but I hope you guys got a lot of value from this video. Any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them, but I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.